All creatives know this feeling when you sit down to make content and your mind just goes completely blank. The cursor blinks at you, or the blank page just stares back while you're trying to come up with ideas and forcing it, spending hours accomplishing nothing. I've been there, a lot. And today I'm going to show you the system that I use to never run out of content ideas again. It's called the collecting seeds method, and it completely changed how I create. From painful 4 sessions to having a constant stream of creative ideas generated from my life and directly from my mind. As someone who posts content regularly, I've always struggled with this exact problem, spending hours a week trying to generate ideas on demand until I developed this system. And using this, I was able to shift my entire creative generation process. I was that creator spending hours digging through archives and bookmarks, trying desperately to find something to post tomorrow. I'd committed to consistency, but I had no system to support it. Or I'd sit there for hours trying to squeeze ideas out of my brain, and when something finally came out, it was contrived, boring, or something repeated. It just didn't have any substance. And then when I put it out, it wasn't good enough for anyone to connect. It was contrived. It was boring. Because forced ideas create forced content, and audiences can pick up on that. It's not going to resonate. It's flat. I ended up finding a book that I love now, and I carry it with me everywhere. Inside it, I found a method that I adapted to my own process and finally came up with a system that really works. It's the idea that creativity isn't about generating, it's about collecting. It's about collecting ideas like seeds. Seeds floating throughout your day, and most people miss them because they're not complete. People are waiting for fully formed ideas to show up in front of them. But that's not how creativity actually works. Here's exactly what I do now. Throughout the day, I use the Notes app in my phone as a collection bucket for seeds, which are just tiny fragments of ideas, observations, questions, images, anything that sparks my interest for even just a second. I also take a lot of pictures and short videos, so when I would take one before, I would just snap it and be like, where did it go? Mixed in with everything else. So I just simply created a seeds media album on my phone, and when I take it, I have the discipline to, right after I take it, I put it in the album. Otherwise I'll lose it. And I lose them if I don't do that. Super simple. It sounds dumb, but creativity doesn't need to be complex. It just needs to work. Walking the dog, somebody crosses the street to avoid us. Throw it in the notes. That's a seed. Overheard a conversation at the store. That's a seed. Random thought while I'm driving. That's a seed. Sandwich board out in front of a restaurant. I take a picture. That's a capture. That's a seed. Put it in the folder. No judgment, no editing, just capture. Collect, 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 collect. I'm not using the in the moment time to decide if this is something that I can use or if it applies to me or not, how I could use it, if I will use it. I just capture everything in the moment. The key is immediate capture. If anything captures my attention, I just throw it right in the Notes app, 10, 15 seconds, and then I just keep going. If you think you'll remember it later, you won't. You're going to forget, like I do, 90% of all interesting observations, especially when you're staring at a blank piece of paper. I use the Notes app on my phone because it's always with me, but whatever works for you, if it's a physical little notepad or voice notes, memos, whatever, just make it frictionless. That's the important part. Make it frictionless. Because any barrier means you'll skip capturing seeds. Previously, I had an iPhone 4 that I would carry around last year, and I tried to use that as my capturing seeds method because I thought it would be like more esoteric, but if I didn't charge it or if I didn't have it with me, it was in my backpack or something, I found myself missing out on opportunities and I would forget things. So I reduced the friction and just used my basic phone in my pocket. Don't worry about grammar. Don't worry if it makes sense. Don't worry if it's good enough. Just get the raw observation down and you'll process it later. And that's what we'll get to next. But you can't process what you didn't capture. So once a week, I sit down for my seed review session, and it takes me about 2 to 3 hours depending on how many seeds that I captured throughout that week. First pass, read through all the seeds from that week and pick the ones that still seem alive. Some seeds die if they don't spark something anymore, and that's fine. Delete them if they die. About half of them are going to die anyway. That's normal. Second pass, take the seeds that survived and expand them with bullet points to try to build a full idea. If you can build a full idea from that seed, that's something that you keep and continue developing it. Ask questions like, what angle could I take? What story does this tell? Is there value behind this? How could this help someone? That observation about people crossing the street when I came could be bullets about social anxiety. It could be an observation that I'm chopped, or just a projection about how we judge strangers in different places. So this seed might have some legs. I could develop this more. Third pass, in that sitting, pick the most developed seeds, usually 3 to 5, and then develop them more. Run through the whole process. Find the ones that have the most energy and write complete drafts. Those go into the ready to post folder. That way I always have finished content waiting. I can take things from that ready to post folder and then format them for whatever content platform that I'm looking for. The beauty of grabbing every thought and putting it in one giant folder is when you're reviewing these seeds, sometimes 2 or 3 of them can come together into one more developed idea that if you were trying to analyze each one as it came, you might miss the connection that all of them come together and then create a larger idea, more inspiration. And that is more interesting than one seed could have ever been alone. If you follow this process, this seed collecting process, this will benefit you because you will never have to start from truly zero again. You'll always have dozens of seeds slowly growing so that you never have to rely on on-demand creativity again, and you have a catalog to pull from. And that catalog was generated from your mind, not from scraping a bunch of other people's ideas. You'll save hours every week because instead of forced sessions, you'll have one organized review where you're working with ideas that already exist instead of trying to start from nothing. Your content quality will improve because your ideas have time to develop and mature and combine with other thoughts because you don't have the pressure to push out something that's half-baked because of the content deadlines or develop something that's not complete. And hopefully you'll enjoy creating again because then you'll be selecting from abundance instead of making the best of scarcity with a deadline. That shift in energy will come through in your content. And since using this method, I haven't had a single day where I don't know what to post. I usually have the opposite problem where I have too many ideas to choose from, and that's exactly where you want to be. I have a draft of things that are half done, 3/4 done, ideas and concepts that I might come back to. It feels good. My engagement increased because I'm sharing thoughts that genuinely interested me enough to capture them, and it doesn't feel like manufactured content. Authenticity always wins over forced creativity. I post more consistently because it's not painful when you have 15 ready pieces, and the compound effect is real. After 3 months, I had hundreds of seeds, dozens of developed pieces, and a sustainable system that generated more content from my mind than I could ever use. My stress around content creation has disappeared because I trust the system. I trust that my seeds will keep appearing. I trust that my weekly review will keep generating them, and I trust that my content ideas will not run out. Start today, create a seeds bucket, and then start capturing the next thing that you see that interests you, and again, and again, and again. And then keep doing it every day without judgment until a habit is formed. By Sunday, you'll have dozens of seeds ready to review, and within a month, you'll have transformed your creative process from forced to flowing exactly as I did. This system works for me because it aligns with how creativity for me actually works, which is through flow, not force. This system works for me because it aligns with how creativity actually functions. Not through pressure, through observation. Not through demanding, through collecting. Not through forcing, but through nurturing what actually appears. So yeah, this is just my method. It's low tech, but it works for me. If you have a really cool method, let me know. I would love to hear it. All right, check you guys tomorrow.